Hello, West Covina Christian Church. It is such a blessing to come to you today from our sanctuary. This is such a special room. I get a warm feeling every time I come into our sanctuary here. I've felt the Lord's presence here and been blessed by God so many times as we have gathered to worship and to hear God's word here. And I know many of you feel the same way, that this is a special place. And I think that's part of the reason why this pandemic has been so hard. We've missed not being able to come together here and worship the Lord in our sanctuary. But even though we haven't been able to meet here, God has still been so faithful to us. In fact, He has given us some very unexpected blessings along the way. And in this video, I'm going to share with you one of those unexpected blessings that has enabled us to make some updates and some changes and renovations to the sanctuary. But before I get into that, let me just say that this decision has not been, we have not come to this decision lightly. In fact, we've wrestled with it, and we've wrestled with it a lot through the years. I can remember about 4 or 5 years ago, the board of directors wrestling with the thought that would it be wise to give some updates and some renovations to our sanctuary. And at that time, there was not the sense of the Lord's leading along those lines. But it has been in our thoughts and in our hearts for a long time because some of these things in our sanctuary could use some updates. In fact, the carpet has been here since the year 2000 when our church purchased this property, and the pews have been here. These are the original pews of when the church was built in 1960. And so to say the least, there could be some room for some updates. Now, all that being said, I know that change is hard. And sometimes we grow attached to things. And so we haven't come to this decision lightly, but after an unexpected blessing that I'll share in a moment, and after a lot of prayer and discussion, the board of directors and the pastors and other leaders in the church have come to the conclusion that now, while we're not meeting in here, is the most ideal time for us to make some updates and some renovations to our sanctuary, foyer, and entryway. Bob Smith, our church board chair, is here with me, and I have a couple questions that I'd like to ask Bob. Bob, kind of what's the vision? What are we thinking about here in the sanctuary, and why would we make those changes?
That's been a long time question, Pastor Kory. In fact, this vision started quite a few years ago. Some of you remember. This was Pastor Rick's original vision, that we'd replace the pews with chairs. And of course, replacing the pew with chairs means the carpet would have to be replaced, because these pews are all bowled down. There's holes in the carpet. But I think the best would be more of a demonstration of why we want to do this, as we can explain. If I could borrow you for a second, Pastor Kory. See, we have these long pews. Now, what was our original mission statement? We want to open our doors wide so people may come in. I mean, we want to be a church that looks inviting, that looks comfortable. In fact, so let's have an example. So you're a member of church. You're sitting here ready to watch Pastor Kory talk. And I'm going to be a visitor. And I come walking in, and I'm looking for a place to sit. And we have someone plunked right here, and someone plunked on the other side. And I'm going to have to go, excuse me. And it's intimidating. It's very uncomfortable for somebody that's new.
Yeah.
So his idea, and the idea that we all like, is if we get rid of these long pews and we have chairs, we can be creative in the way we put the chairs. Stephen Koba, quite a few years ago, he's an architect, and we have some architectural plans of how we can make this look and work. We can have multiple aisles and narrow rows.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for people to come in.
I understand that when we think about having chairs in the sanctuary here, it gives us a lot more flexibility, like you said, to create aisles. Our hope and desire is obviously to come back into the sanctuary, but surely we will still be under restrictions for social distancing. And just having chairs gives us the ability to move things around, not only at that time, but long into the future when we have different types of events or different types of services. It gives us the ability to space things out and to rearrange things in a way that opens up a lot of doors for us in terms of ministry down the road.
I wanted to let you know that we recognize that change is sometimes difficult, even good changes, even things that we recognize we need to do. And so the changing from sanctuary pews to chairs, the change of the carpet, things that have been here since many of us have, all the years that we've been in this sanctuary, is a change. And so we wanted to let you know we recognize that. Along those lines, I met with our Harvesters deacons, Dr. Mike Tanaka and Audrey Sakamoto, and we talked through these changes from a harvester's perspective. We came to a good place where we recognized, I think we agreed on, that the change is good, and some of these changes are necessary. But they did say that we need to keep in mind several things, a couple of things, comfort and stability when it comes to the chairs and the seating and the environment for the sanctuary. And so those are things I just want to let you know we are keeping in mind for our harvesters as well as for our church family when we do these renovations.
Now I recognize, Bob, I'm sure that this is a very expensive project when we're talking about chairs and carpeting and those type of things. Like, how do we envision paying for this?
Well, that's why we never did this before, because we talked with the carpet people and the chair manufacturers, and when the bids came in, it was expensive, pricey, and we didn't want to spend the money at that time because it would had a serious hit on the building fund, and we had other projects that we really need to work on. So now, by the grace of God, the good news is that we have anonymous donations to the building fund of $32,000, which is just about the amount that the prices have come in on carpet and chairs. So we believe, and as the board of directors approves, this is God's will that we can finally carry out this vision.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It is.
Okay, that's the good news. We will keep you updated, and when we have some progress being made in the sanctuary, we will let you know. Sounds good. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Pastor Kory.